Hey, what's up, everyone? How you doing? It's me, Mr. 4K Upscaler. So, as you all know, this week alone was the AMD Radeon week. I got the Radeon AMD cards, Navi architecture, Radeon 5700, and at the same time, it was the launch of Gears 5 versus Tech demo. So, having said that, I didn't have much time to do any live streams and to do any picture settings for televisions and stuff like that. That's coming, but later on, because I was too preoccupied testing these cards and, of course, testing the Gears versus Tech test. So these are some of the screenshots that I took from the test, and very interesting to see what this card is capable of. Now, this card does have issues with overheating. Uh, I contacted the AMD and they said it might have to do something with the software. The Waterman, there's this wattage so, part of the software where you have to keep it on default. So basically what the AMD told me is just reinstall the drivers and keep everything in the balanced power. Don't keep it on a high performance. Even though I have 850 watts, they said keep it on a balanced power. I have tried that and it seems to work for a little bit. It seems to work, but still I'm when I touched the card, when I touched the back of it, where the display and display port and HDMI input is, it's like an oven. It gets to 93 Celsius. So listen, regardless of what the AMD says, the card has issues. It's not just me saying this, but other people are saying that the cards do get hot, and that's not good. You don't want your cards to be hot. Uh, you know, you want them to be at least 80 Celsius or 83 Celsius, depending on what games you're playing, but they shouldn't go more than above 93 Celsius. If you're going above 93 Celsius, not good. So, but still, the interesting point here is that I was able to get 52, actually 56 frames per second on a 4K high settings. This is all with the image sharpening and all of the accolades that the AMD Radeon has. I was able to get 56 frames per second on a native 4K with one single GPU. And that's pretty darn good for a one GPU, considering just how cheap this. I mean, it is cheap in comparison, in contrast to Nvidia. Come on, let's face it. It is pretty cheap in comparison to Nvidia. All right. Now, previous AMD cards, Radeon 7, the performance sucked, but they were overpricing that card. But that was a different architecture. This is a totally different architecture. This is a 7 nanometer GPU RDNA Radeon Navi architecture. And look, this is impressive. There's a video. I did a video of this. You guys can check out the video that I did. This is the screenshot from that video that I did. You can see right here on on high settings, native 4K high settings, I was getting 56 frames per second. That's just 4 frames shy of 60 frames per second. That's pretty darn good for high settings to be getting that constant 56 frames per second. And the average frame rate was 58. So it's pretty darn good. And you will see right here on my other tests, like right here on the medium settings, right here, I was able to get a 64 frames per second, even on this very intensive, very fast physics type of scene in the game, in the gameplay, where there's a lot of stuff happening, the wind, the snow, the blizzard, and then this ice is breaking down. I was getting 64 frames per second in native 4K on the medium settings. And the average was 60 FPS. So it never dropped down below 60. So performance on these graphics cards in 4K, it's pretty darn good. Because this is Gears 5. You know, we're talking brand new game with the Unreal Engine 4. So to see this game run at a 60 to 64 frames per second is pretty good. Now, granted, I understand maybe this is not the best demo test to use because Coalition Games did work together with the AMD and Radeon 5700 and Navi architecture to get this game to work the best with those graphics cards. However, that's still pretty amazing to be able to get 64 frames per second in native 4K with HDR on medium settings. So not bad. So this is a 4K capable card. There's no question about that. You know, someone said to me, "Oh, this is a 1080p card." Come on, man. You know, clearly you can see I'm showing you the results here. This card, it's capable of 4K, but it's not going to run 4K 70 frames per second. I don't know if there's such a card out there that can do 4K 70 frames per second with ultra settings. Even 2080 Ti cannot do that. The best you can do with 2080 Ti is 60 frames per second on ultra settings. How do I know that? Because I tried it. I borrowed a 2080 Ti EVGA from my friend, but I had to return it to him. That's how I know. And this is pretty good, man. And even here, you will see, even on this scene right here, in this gameplay, you will see that I was able to get 61 frames per second. It did drop down a few frames here and there, but it stayed at 60. So it was between 60 to 64 on a medium settings in a native 4K. Now, if you guys don't believe me, you can actually see this video. You can watch this video for yourself, and you can see it for yourself that I actually was getting 60 frames per second. You know, actually, I did a comparison between high and medium settings. So, pretty amazing stuff. You know. So what I'm trying to say, the AMD is not lying when they tell you that you can do 4K gaming with this card. They're not lying when they tell you that you can do VR with this game. However, what they didn't tell you is that due to the way this card is designed, it doesn't have the best fan cooling, and it does overheats, and it gets really hot, and that's not good. You know, that's the one negative that I would say that would make me be more skeptical about this card. You know, I want to see what the aftermarket out there is going to do, like a Sapphire. I want to see what the Sapphire is going to do with liquid cooling, thermal cooling. If they release 5700 XT with liquid cooling from Sapphire, that's something worth looking into, because I do have 850 watts and I can easily handle that liquid cooling. But don't get too excited. Liquid cooling has its ups and downs too, guys. It's not perfect. Everything has its ups and downs. I would prefer, I'm not a huge fan of liquid cooling either. What I would prefer is what EVGA is doing. I honestly, why can't AMD make a deal with like EVGA and those other, third-party companies out there to implement like a better cooling, with more cooling pipes, with much higher, bigger radiators and more fans. I don't care about the cosmetics. A lot of people, look, these cards look beautiful, but you're going to put them inside your PC. Who cares about the cosmetics, how they look like? The only thing you should care about is how well they perform and do they overheat. As you can see here, again, even on this one right here, I was getting, 61 frames per second. Even here on the medium settings, and medium settings for this game look really good, as you can see right here. I had no issues here. It looked really good. Right here, I was getting 61 frames per second. Come on, man. That's if you tell me that this card is not 4K capable, and I'm showing you native 4K, medium settings at 61 frames per second, then come on, man. You know, seriously. It is 4K capable, and it does handle 4K gaming, but the problem is the heat. Sometimes the game will shut down, the computer will shut down to protect your card from overheating, and it's going to shut down altogether completely. So I don't know, man. I might have to do some more research on this. I'll have to watch some of the Jay-Z 2 Cents videos, Gamer Nexus. I have to see what they have to say about this, you know, in terms of this issue and this problem. I just find out about it today, you know, but I'm gonna watch, or I might even contact him. I'll just contact him, you know, send him an email. Hey, you know, Jay-Z, you know, have you tested, you know, Radeon RX 5700? Or I can contact the Gamer Nexus and ask them, hey, you know, have you had these issues with the AMD Radeon 5700XTs overheating, getting too hot? Because when it goes above 93 Celsius, that's not good. If you're hitting 95, 96, 97 Celsius, and one time I hit 98 Celsius, I was like, I got to turn my computer off. That's a lot of heat. So, but besides that, besides the cards, you know, getting hot, as you can see, you can easily hit 4K 60. This is with the HDR, so you can easily hit 4K, native 4K, with 60 frames per second and HDR with a medium settings. Or if you want to go to the high settings, which I don't recommend, because the difference between high and medium settings, it's not something you will be able to see. I really didn't see a difference between the high and medium. Okay, this is high and this is medium. This is high and this is medium. I don't know if you guys can tell a difference. I personally can't. So this is also high, but I really don't see that much of a difference, you know. And this right here, it's medium, and I also don't see a difference in terms of quality. So I would recommend, if you're going to play this game on a PC, I highly recommend medium settings in 4K, and you'll see it for yourself, honestly. I've tested it, so it should run good on your system as well. However, I hope you have a fridge of PC, because you're going to need a fridge of a PC to keep that card cool. So anyway, look, Gears 5, I've done plenty of videos on Gears 5. There's also another video that's 28 minutes long, and on that video you will see after 28 minutes my computer shut down. After 28 minutes the computer shut down because the graphics card was too hot. It got so much heat that it had to shut down, and you're going to see that on the on that video. But overall, the performance I was getting in that 28 minutes was just top notch. You know, look, this game, it's ready. It's ready for prime time. Rod Ferguson can release this game tomorrow, this month, hell, next month, August. You know, because it's ready for prime time. There's no issues, no bugs, no problems. Everything runs smooth. Now, I don't know how's the single player. Maybe they have some issues there. Maybe still working on a single player, because single player, you have to remember, it's going to be more intense than what the multiplayer is. Okay, there's going to be more shaders. There's going to be more stuff. But overall, look, Radeon 5700XT 50th Anniversary Edition with a 10.7 teraflops definitely handles the 4K like a charm. With medium to high settings, 50 to 60 frames per second, it's pretty darn good, man. And when I say high settings, I'm talking like, here, let me show you. I'm talking like 56. It goes between 58 to 56. So it's nearly 60 FPS. So it hits right there at the 56. And that's pretty darn good, man. I don't know if you guys have seen this video, but that's pretty darn good to be running at high settings the Gears 5 at 56 frames per second in native 4K. And this is also a good news because this now makes me convinced 100% that this Navi architecture that's going to be implemented with Zen 2 CPU chip with Xbox 2 Scarlet, I'm 100% confident we'll see native 4K 60 at high settings with Gears 5. I'm like 100% confident. I don't even have to think about it. And I think majority of your games will be running in native 4K 60. I have no doubts about that. I really have no doubt about that. We're gonna see that. So I'm really excited to see Xbox Scarlet, dude. I'm excited for both consoles. I'm excited for PlayStation 5 and Scarlet because both of these consoles, I'm probably not gonna touch PC once I get my hands on Scarlet and PlayStation 5, because those two consoles are gonna be like PC. Really, you're gonna have that PC horsepower in there, like high performance PC. I mean, really, think about it. What we're getting with these new consoles, and I'm going to limb. I'm gonna say it. Let me be the first one to say it. It's gonna be high performance PCs, what you're gonna be getting with the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Scarlet. Even if it's a 8K checkerboard, dude, even right now, 8K checkerboard on the PC, you'll have a difficult time, even with two 2080 Ti's. Trust me. So that's 33 million pixels that you have to upscale. Think about that, dude. No. It's not bad enough that you have to upscale 8.3 million pixels or run 8.3 million pixels natively with 60 frames per second. But think about checkerboarding something to 33 million pixels. I don't think you guys can even grasp just how huge that is, how big that is. Okay, so, but now for this card, for this GPU, what AMD has released, it's definitely a great step up, a great trajectory forward. If only they can fix this issue with cards getting hotter, if they can figure out the way how to do that, how to minimize that, maybe balance the wattage and how the wattage is being shared between the GPU and CPU. If they can maybe figure that out and fix that, that'll be great. But other than that, I have really nothing. The only negative thing is obviously the card getting hot. And even here you can see, with what I was running i7 CPU, 8700 8th generation with 3.2 gigahertz, and I had 32 gigabytes of memory on board, and you can see my average frame rate was 60 FPS with medium settings here, and that's pretty darn good, to have medium settings, native 4K, right here, 100%. The scale was set to 100%, meaning you're getting the full native 8.3 million pixels. And you can see right here, I hit the 60 frames per second. And in some cases, I hit 64. So from 64 to 60 to 64 frames per second, pretty darn good, man. And then on high settings, I was hitting 54 to 58 frames per second, which is also pretty darn good. Like I said, this is a very capable 4K card, and it's sad, and it really makes me sad. It makes me sad that they have this issue with card getting hot. And I had this feeling, yes, when I saw the design of the card, and I saw that they're going back to the same old AMD style, I was like, oh God. I was hoping that they were gonna use the Radeon 7, the whole aluminum chassis with the three fans, because that has more room to keep that card cool. They should have just stick with the Radeon 7 design and just call it 5700XT. They could have, painted it with different red and white color, whatever, and make it, just put a name on there that says 5700XT. Seriously, that's what I would have done. I don't know why they went back to this design. I don't know why Scott went back to this design. Yes, it looks nice. Look, the cards looks beautiful, but I knew it. That thing's going to have a problem. It's going to get heated. But we'll see what the Sapphire is going to do with the aftermarket. With liquid cooling, we'll see. We'll see what they're going to do. Should I recommend it? The good and the ugly. Should I recommend it? Whew, this is a tough one. Should I recommend this card? Like I said, if you have a refrigerator of a rig that keeps it cool at all times, go for it. Give it a try. But I can't guarantee you that you're not going to have some issues with this card getting hot. So it's really a double-edged sword. It's just hard to look. This is a pretty awesome performance card for its price. What you're getting here in terms of performance for its price, it's hard to beat, really. But it's that little tiny ugly thing that's just it's getting heated, and you're going to see it on my previous video. You're going to see that on my previous video where after 28 minutes, that's it. The card got really hot. So that Spider-Man, that was the picture that I had from previous. Remember the whole what you call it, puddle thing, the puddles, the Spider-Man puddles. That was the photo that I designed that I still have. So anyway, guys, like I said, the game, the Gears 5, it's awesome, and it's running great on the Xbox One X, and it's running great on the Radeon 5700XT. It's running great on both platforms. So whether you play it on the Xbox or whether you play it on a PC, you're going to enjoy it. However, if you have a PC, you can crank up the frame rates up to 130 frames per second. If you're running this game at 1440p or 3840 by 1080, you can hit 104 frames per second. I was able to hit 104 frames per second on 3840 by 1080, and that's pretty darn good, guys. For this game, on the ultra wide screen, to hit 104 frames per second on a FreeSync 2 HDR monitor with high settings, that's pretty darn good, man. Okay, and you're definitely going to benefit with that 104 frames per second. And 144 refresh rate hertz on your Samsung CHG 90 50-inch ultra-wide monitor. You're definitely going to benefit in multiplayer when you're playing the multiplayer. So anyway, there you have it, guys. I think I've done more than enough for Gears 5 and AMD Radeon. I think I showed you guys everything there is to show you in terms of HDR calibration, in terms of how this game runs. Like I said, sad but true. In terms of Radeon 5700XT, if AMD can fix this issue with card not getting heated, if they can keep it at 89 Celsius, I'm happy. But if it goes above 93 Celsius, then that's a problem. That's an issue. So we'll see what they're going to do. Okay. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. And I know I've been kind of absent on the live streams and the television, but that's because I was busy with the monitors. I was busy with these AMD cards, and I was busy with the Gears 5. So that's the reason why. All right, guys, thank you for watching. Thank you for all the support. I really do appreciate that. You don't have to subscribe, but if you do, I appreciate it. I do. So thank you. Have a good one, though. Take care. Happy Sunday.